And for those of you that don't understand, that Miss Angie Stone climbed out the van on her own. She was instructed to sit down on the side of the road by a white person, and then she was ran over by a white person.
Now, it's a strange little case with the Angie Stone situation. There were rumors that the driver had his license suspended when he was driving her. She was actually alive at the time of the crash, and she actually managed to escape the vehicle and then died afterwards. And there are also rumors that she was in a secret society or fraternity. So I'm not going to make this video too long, but I'm just going to gather a bunch of clips, put them all together, and see what conclusion we can come up to. Regardless of anything, I think it's safe to say that she was exposing the industry and record labels and how they work Grammy behind the scenes. And right after that, she ended up passing mysteriously, being the only one out of 8 people, I believe it was, in the vehicle that crashed, getting injured. So there's a lot of holes in this story, but you know, it's just another one of them industry deaths that leave you with nothing but bad confusion. So it's a shame that this stuff happens. Whether people want to call it conspiracy, people want to call it foul play, people want to call it a natural death, who knows, but I'm just here to gather some information and bring it towards you. But yeah, I don't think I'll be coming back to talk anymore in this video, so I appreciate all the support, and take care.
They weren't paying her royalties, and that they were taking the money that she needed to provide for her family. And then a few days later, she's gone. Let's take a listen to the video now.
So before I go into just, what I experienced, what I went through, I want to let you guys know I almost didn't make it through this process because it was something that just kind of hit me. It was a day or so before I was scheduled to fly out to Detroit. And I was very excited. All the tickets were bought, the hotels were paid for, the band was ready to go. And then I got hit with this crazy news, and it kind of threw me for a loop. So I figured I better share it with you all, and you can pass it on, because it has been one heck of a ride. This last month, the enemy was trying to take me out. He was really trying to take me out, and we're gonna wait till we get those 50, 60. We had 51. Let me see, can I get 70 to 100 people in the room right now before I reveal some very, very interesting information. And it is like a double-edged sword, because I'm gonna tell you one thing, and then I'm gonna get to the worst thing that could possibly happen to any artist after 45 to 50 years in the business. The worst thing that could happen. It has, of course, happened to me, and I'm constantly in prayer for God to forgive the people that have wished me ill will, or done anything to remotely get in the way of the gift of sharing with my fans. The devil tried to stop that. It was snatched down, then it was put back up. He tried to, of course, blame it on me, but it wasn't my fault. However, the song prevailed after everybody bailed. The song went all the way to #1, and it's steadily climbing the chart. But I will have my team posted as a reveal, because it is a secret that I'm revealing. But the latter part of the conversation is really, really crazy. TikTok page. Anyway, what happened 2 days before my show? Whew. But God, I'm trying to keep from crying, because the devil was very, very, very particular in targeting me. But anyway, I was rushed to the hospital because I wasn't breathing so well. Came to find out, I had what was a bacterial blood infection that I had gotten when they stuck me with the needle. It had went into my bloodstream and caused a staph infection of the blood. Now, I didn't have a clue that there was a blood infection until they rushed me into ICU. I went into ICU, and I went to use the restroom, and I passed out in the restroom. My oxygen went all the way down and rendered me basically unconscious. When I came back to, the nurses began to tell me that I was screaming for Jesus, because when I went down, I'm sorry, I didn't know that, I didn't know what was happening. All I know is it was all of a sudden. And I began to praise God and call on his name, because I knew biblically that if I was transitioning, I needed to be calling on Jesus. And I needed to be calling him by his name, so I began to scream his name. When they brought me to us, when they told me I was lucky to be alive, because I was on the floor. And, sorry. I knew it was an attack. I knew it was a spiritual attack on me. However, I was treated, and God healed me. He cleared up. After 2 weeks, solid, they cleared up the blood infection. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, as I was coming through all of this, I soon found out that one of the biggest companies that I was with, Universal Music, it's the second part of the ugly truth. We began to research things to check on my royalties and my statements and things that of that nature, only to find out a lot of my publishing, a lot of my royalties, my mechanicals, they have all pretty much been stolen. As I begin to find out things that I never had to look into, because when you hire a team of people that, to some degree, supposed to have your back, you're thinking that they're getting it all together for you. You know, that's why, you know, I respect Oprah Winfrey in that respect when she said, do your own research. After 40-something years in the business, I'm like, well, why? Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties, all my mechanicals. They've taken pretty much everything. They've stolen, I won't say stolen, but they have taken all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company. And even though there's several class action lawsuits, people that were working on my behalf never even registered the songs. All the songs that I've done, I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to. People that were supposed to do their due diligence. So I'm truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time. Because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, money that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. But there are key people that have been driving the ships. And what they've been doing is improperly representing me, improperly stealing from me, taking things in their own hand, changing and switching lanes because they knew I didn't know that part. So I'm just here to let you know, one way or the other, Universal Music, you're going to have to give up my coins. And so what I'm doing now is whatever is necessary to make sure they pay me for the legacy of my life, for my children and my grandchildren. They're going to have to give me my money. I mean, when you sit back and think Bruno Mars, Dr. Dre, when you think about all these people that have sampled music, if they're filthy rich on it, what's our problem? Or my problem? Oh, yeah. So you got to get a diesel crew, and I call them a diesel crew, to go in and rectify the issue. Because evidently, all the time that I've been working through things, they didn't. I'll tell them on my live, please. Okay. Give me your phone. I'm sorry.
As you heard for yourself, she clearly calls out the label, tells the world to share this, tells the world to, to help her get this message out there because this label's taking advantage of her. And then a few days later, she passes away. You can't tell me that's not.
About. We're talking about witchcraft, and we're going to get to the clip of her talking about witchcraft in her life, and it'll kind of explain even this part why I said the spirit of death was chasing her, right? We'll get there. But in this picture right here, I have to say this photo looks very demonic. Now, she'd already admitted that she didn't know much about the business side of the industry, and although she was a church singer, she may have grew up in the church, she allowed herself to be influenced, and she allowed the devil into her life, right? Basically, she sold her soul at one part in her life. This symbolism right here proves that. This is the X. This is the sign of Osiris risen. Osiris has risen. Osiris, the sun god. Fallen angels, aka Satan. This is occult symbolism. This is Aleister Crowley. This is a demonic presence. This is saying I am a part of an oath, an occult. I am down, just to put it simple. This is where you have to get into the meat of what these people are actually a part of and who they pledge their allegiance to. It's not all fun and games, and you only hope by the way that she spoke when she was in her later ages that she got her life right with God. But it's just like I said in the first part, when you make this oath to the devil, this is something you cannot escape in this world. In this world we're talking about. Maybe in the spirit, maybe after things, she's passed on and, only God knows if she got her soul right. But in this life, you're not going to escape it. The devil is the God of this world. This is ultimately why the spirit of death was chasing her. So this is Aleister Crowley. This is the ritual meaning. This is the ritual symbolism behind Osiris risen. One thing we have to remember, it goes on and on. There's so much proof of Hollywood worshiping this symbolism. It reminds me of that Manly Hall quote.
And 27 is ritual in this numerology cipher. The one that really truly stuck out to me is that a 63-year-old woman thought it was a good idea to join Zeta Phi Beta. Why would a 63-year-old black woman need to join a Greek organization where most of these initiates come from when they're in their 20s in college? It seems to me they coaxed her into being an honorary member, which means she took an oath, which means she wasn't tied down to any Masonic doctrines or contracts. In order for her to be sacrificed, she needed to be spiritually vulnerable. And this is what y'all Negroes need to start understanding about these Greek societies. They are luring you into these organizations so you can be spiritually vulnerable. And what that means is if your number comes up, they have within their spiritual right to sacrifice you, to take you off this earth because you took an oath, which are talked about in scripture, taking oaths to a system that's built upon blood sacrificing. Period. If you look at the founding date of Zeta Phi Beta, it's January 16th, which is 116. She died March 1st. From the time of the founding date of that organization to the day she died was 1 month, 1 week, and 6 days. Basically the founding date within that time frame. All I can say is to those who are in the entertainment business, your days are numbered. And those who aren't in the entertainment business, I'm talking about retired artists, I'm talking about retired football players, basketball players. Your name is on a hit list. I don't know how many times I gotta say this, but I'm gonna say it again and again until you figure it out for yourself. Your name is on a hit list. They don't care how good you were when you were entertaining for them. They only care about their numeric system and how it works out in numerology when they take you up off this place. Period. And they are allowed to do it because you have not sought for yourself the person who's in power that can save you from this madness and save you from these heathens.
Her son was a Saturn worshiper like many of these occultists in the industry. Yesterday, the same day his mom passed away, he posted this on Instagram referring to Saturn, and the post said 28 years for Saturn to cycle around the sun, 28 Gs to make a whole thing. Saturn year. Super focused right now, got some big surprises for y'all very soon. Me and my team been working very hard to bring something meaningful and special to the ones who have been down with this long, but tonight we gonna celebrate. Meet me at the club. He posted this the same day his mom passed away, and if you can see, he referred to Saturn, he was referring to the Saturn's return. This is actually a ritual that many occultists do in the industry. If you saw my video breaking down the Saturn code in Hollywood, you would know that people like Ariana Grande and many other celebrities did this Saturn return ritual. It's a year of reflection and growth for them, and they see it as a moment of rebirth. The fact that he posted this the same day his mom passed away, seeing this post to me indicates that he's definitely in the occult world, because this is something that all these occultists are doing. That stands out to me, and it clearly indicates that there has to be some foul play going on. I don't want to blame her son and say he had anything to do with it, but seeing that post, it lets me know that he's a part of the same club as everyone else in Hollywood. It lets me know that he's most likely into the occult. He wouldn't be posting this if he wasn't.
It definitely sticks out, because if I'm not mistaken, didn't his mom pass away early in the morning around 4 a.m.?
The news reported that the accident did happen early in the morning, around 4 to 5 if I'm not mistaken.
So you're telling me a man whose mother just passed away, instead of mourning his mom and maybe not posting something like this on his Instagram, decides to make this type of post? That does not make sense to me, because anybody with the right sense of mind would probably stay off of social media for a while at that.
To me, this whole situation is strange. While it could have just been an accident and a tragedy, it could also have been the industry silencing another artist that was speaking out against them.
And for those of you that don't understand, that Miss Angie Stone climbed out the van on her own. She was instructed to sit down on the side of the road by a white person, and then she was ran over by a white person.
And see, I told y'all, the story they told us, it didn't make sense. Out of 9 people in the van, how was Angie Stone the only person to die? See, we have to use our common sense. It's been 10 whole days. We haven't had any investigations. The truck driver, you had no update, no mugshot of the truck driver. The people in the van, you have no interviews. No one is saying anything like it never happened. Make it make sense. And then I said, wait. Early in the video, dude said it was a Caucasian woman that helped Angie Stone out of the van. And then I found this video of the woman. Check it out.
I could have 18 more on the side of the interstate. I have pieces of the fender in my hair. I have it's oil all over my body. I'm gonna clean this up and I'm gonna get back to telling the story, and I'll show you the footage. After driving the 6 hours home, showering, and processing it all, here's the story. About 4 a.m. on Saturday morning, me and my daughter were driving to Charleston, South Carolina for her sweet 16 birthday getaway. We came up to a truck with a trailer and its flashers were on, so we slowed down some, and that's when I noticed there was an overturned vehicle in the fast lane. And it looked like it just happened. I pulled over and put my flashers on, and I told my daughter to stay in the car. And I ran over. It was a van, and I ran over, and there were so many people in this van, and they were just trying to get out. And I asked if they called the cops, and they said, we're just trying to get out. And they were helping this woman out off the side of the van, and I grabbed her hand, and I helped her get down. And she seemed out of it, and I was holding her hand, and she was wobbling around. And I said, baby, you got to sit down. And then the next thing I know, I flew. And I fell down to the ground, and it felt like something not ran over me, but brushed over me. Like something just swiped over my body. And I got up, and I could hear screaming. And I just focused in on one screaming, and it was my daughter. And all I could do was run across the highway and tell her to get back in the car. She had to move the car, because if somebody else hit us, it could hit her. So she moved the car farther up the interstate. And I called 911, and they said they were on their way. And then all I could think to do was get to my daughter. And that's all I could do at that time. And when I was walking to my daughter, we're really running. The best that I can do, I was in so much pain. My chest felt like an elephant was sitting on it. My legs were so hurt and sore. And I looked up, and there was an 18-wheeler that had crossed the median into the oncoming traffic. And I knew that's what hit me and ran over and brushed over me was the 18-wheeler.
And see, that's why I love TikTok. TikTok will show you what mainstream news don't show you, what they trying to hide from you. So I went to her account, and she's from Louisiana. Her last post was February 28th, the day before the accident happened, and she deleted the video. So I'm like, wait, let me read these comments. And then I saw this comment. The comment was from someone named Nancy. Nancy asks, what happened to the video? Courtney, the woman that helped Angie Stone, she said, the 18-wheeler video accident post? Then Courtney said, if that is the video you are referring to, the family asked to take it down. Out of respect, the video is now private. So it all makes sense now. That's why no one is fighting back. That's why it seemed like they rushing for this funeral to happen. No one is trying to fight back and figure this stuff out. You even see her daughter. Her daughter was online begging for cash apps. I'm like, damn, you're not trying to find out how your mother died, because what they told us, it didn't make sense. The van flipped over, then the truck hit the van, and she was the only one to die. That didn't make sense. But I always tell y'all in my videos, everyone is on the same team when it comes against our people. The cops on the same team, the trucking companies on the same team, the lawyers, the judges, the prisons, the hospital, they all against us when it comes to something like this. When you speak up against the industry, I'm telling you, they team up against our people. Because I was thinking, if this woman says the truck hit her too, why the news never covered her? Why the news never said anything about her? And again, that's why I love TikTok. On TikTok, you go catch the truth. On YouTube, a lot of times, these major news networks, they not gonna tell you the truth. They just gonna tell you what they want to tell you, especially because a lot of these news outlets, they have ties to the record labels. I'm telling you, they all on the same team.